You ever walk into a car dealership, right? You tell the guy you're looking for a reliable sedan, something around $25,000. The salesman nods, acts like he's listening, then he takes you straight to a souped-up luxury SUV. He spends 30 minutes pointing out the panoramic sunroof, the heated steering wheel, the premium sound system that could rattle your fillings out. Then, almost as an afterthought, he casually drops the price. This baby? 75 large. You choke, obviously. He sees it, smiles, and then says, "But for your needs, we have this sensible sedan over here, for $30,000. And suddenly, that $30,000 sedan, which was $5,000 over your original budget, now feels like a steal. You felt like you won, didn't you? Like you negotiated a triumph. But you didn't. You just got played. Your internal pricing algorithm was just hijacked. Your OS got a forced update you never authorized. This isn't about choice, it's about control. Your brain, that 50,000-year-old operating system, just got hit with what we call an anchor exploit. It's a simple trick, but it's lethal because it bypasses your logic gate entirely. When that salesman dropped the $75,000 number, your brain latched onto it. It became the new default high point, the real value. Everything that came after it, even if it was objectively higher than your initial expectation, suddenly felt cheaper, more reasonable, a bargain. Your system wasn't comparing the $30,000 to your $25,000 budget. It was comparing it to the phantom $75,000. The salesman didn't just sell you a car, he recalibrated your entire perception of value in that moment. Think about how many times this silent tax is levied on your life. Every was $100, now $50 tag. Every premium package starts at $1,000, but our basic is only $200. Even if the $200 is still overpriced for what it is, your OS sees it as a discount from the arbitrary anchor. This isn't just a minor annoyance, it's a constant drain on your resources. Let's do some actual math, because feelings don't pay bills, but bad decisions certainly do. If this anchor exploit tricks you into overspending just an extra $20 a week on groceries, clothes, or minor upgrades you don't need because they feel cheaper after an inflated anchor, that's over $1,000 a year. That's $1,000 you could have put towards an actual investment, a real upgrade to your life, or even just peace of mind. Over a decade, that's $10,000. Enough for a down payment on something substantial, a real car, not the one you were tricked into buying. Over your working life, that's $30,000, $40,000, $50,000. This isn't theoretical. This is real capital being siphoned directly out of your bank account because your firmware hasn't been patched since the Stone Age. You're bleeding money, not because you're bad with it, but because your internal valuation system is constantly being reset by external actors. It's like having a faulty odometer that always adds miles you haven't driven. The countermaneuver for this isn't rocket science, but it requires active intervention. You have to reset your own internal anchor before anyone else can set it for you. Know your numbers. Before you walk into any negotiation, any purchase, any significant decision, set your own realistic, objective upper limit and stick to it, like it's a hard-coded constraint in your OS. If the salesman starts with the $75,000 SUV, your internal response should be a shrug and an immediate restatement of your $25,000 target. Don't engage with their anchors. Treat their inflated numbers like background noise. They are irrelevant data points. Your internal valuation system is not for sale. It's a firewall. Your brain is not a blank slate for them to write prices on. This isn't about being rude. It's about securing your system. This is about keeping your money where it belongs, in your pocket. Now, consider this. You're at a trade show, walking past a booth. Someone hands you a free pen, or a small sample of gourmet cheese, or maybe a tiny keychain with their company logo. You take it, you say thanks, and you keep walking. But then, a few minutes later, the person from the booth comes up to you, smiling, asking if you have a moment to hear about their product. And suddenly, for some reason you can't quite articulate, you feel compelled to stop. You feel a strange, almost physical pull to listen, even if you're not interested. You just accepted something, however small, and now your internal social contract processor is screaming, "Reciprocate, reciprocate." This is the reciprocity exploit. It's one of the oldest and most potent social engineering hacks in the book. Your human OS has a hardwired subroutine that dictates if someone gives you something, you owe them something back. It's fundamental to cooperative social structures, but in the wrong hands, it's a vulnerability. The gift doesn't have to be big. Often the smaller and more unexpected, the more potent it is because it feels like a genuine act of kindness rather than a calculated maneuver. Your brain, in its effort to maintain social harmony and avoid the uncomfortable feeling of being a freeloader, activates a debt tracking mechanism. You might not consciously think, I owe this person 5 minutes of my time because of this free pen, but the process runs in the background. It subtly shifts your behavior, making you more agreeable, more open, more likely to say yes to a request you would otherwise dismiss. Let's map out the behavioral debt this exploit extracts. That free pen costs them pennies. But what does it cost you? If that 5 minutes of listening to a pitch leads you to buying something you don't need, that's a direct financial hit. But even if you don't buy, it's a time hit. 5 minutes here, 10 minutes there. Think about all the times you've been polite because someone offered you a free cookie, a free trial, or a no-obligation consultation. If you average just 20 minutes a week of wasted time, responding to these reciprocity triggers, listening to pitches, filling out surveys, engaging with unwanted sales calls, that's 1,040 minutes a year. That's over 17 hours of your life. Every single year. Hand it over, not because you wanted to, but because your internal social etiquette protocol was exploited. Multiply that by 40 working years, and you've donated almost a full month of your waking life to strangers who strategically leveraged your good nature. This isn't just about money. It's about the most finite resource you have, your time. You are literally paying for their cheap pen with segments of your existence. This is a subtle, continuous drain on your personal autonomy, where you're coerced into actions that aren't truly your own. The countermaneuver is brutal, but essential for self-preservation. You need to disable the automatic reciprocity trigger. Recognize the gift for what it is. An attempt to activate an obligation when someone offers you something for free. Pause. Your first internal system check should be, is this genuinely free? Or is this a down payment on an expected future action? If it's the latter and you don't want to engage, politely decline the initial overture. Say, no thank you. I'm good. Don't elaborate. Don't rationalize. If they insist, or if you've already accepted, and they then make a request, you are perfectly within your rights to say, I appreciate the pen, but I'm not interested in hearing about your product right now. Your system should not interpret receiving a gift as signing a contract. Your social OS needs an update that allows for the graceful rejection of unsolicited obligation. Your time is not a negotiable commodity in exchange for a free coffee coaster. Now, imagine you're scrolling through an online store. You see a pair of shoes you like. Right next to the Add to Cart button, there's a small flashing red text. Only 2 left in stock. Or maybe you see a banner that screams, Flash sale ends in 2 hours. Did those shoes suddenly become more appealing? Did that discount suddenly feel more urgent, more necessary, even if you hadn't planned on buying them? Your heart rate probably kicked up a notch. Your decision-making process went from logical consideration to frantic impulse. This is the scarcity/urgency exploit. Your primitive OS is hardwired to respond to perceived limitations. If something is scarce, it must be valuable. If something is fleeting, it must be seized now. This isn't about rational assessment. It's about pre-programmed fear of loss. The fear of missing out, or FOMO, as the kids call it, is a primal driver. When your brain sees limited stock or expiring offer, it bypasses the analytical modules and activates the act now or lose forever subroutine. It creates an artificial pressure cooker environment, forcing a rapid decision before your higher functions can properly evaluate the need or the actual value. The exploiters understand that a logical mind takes time, but a panicking mind acts impulsively. They're effectively injecting adrenaline directly into your decision-making process. Let's quantify the cost of this particular system vulnerability. How many times have you bought something you didn't really need, or paid full price when you could have waited for a better deal, simply because of a limited time offer? If you're pushed into just 2 unnecessary purchases a year, averaging $50 each, that's $100 you kissed goodbye. $100 that vanished because your system was tricked into believing a false deadline. Over a decade, that's $1,000. Over your life, $10,000. And that's just the direct financial hit. What about the clutter you accumulate from these impulsive buys? The time spent managing, returning, or simply regretting purchases made under duress. Every item purchased under false urgency represents a small compromise of your autonomy. You are not making a free choice. You are reacting to a simulated threat. You are spending your hard-earned money because a digital countdown timer told you to, not because you actually wanted the product. Your OS is reacting like a deer to headlights, and the exploiters are the ones driving. The countermaneuver against the scarcity/urgency exploit is simple in concept, difficult in execution. Enforce an internal cooling-off period. When you see only 2 left or ends tonight, your immediate system response should be to disengage. Close the browser. Walk away from the shelf. Impose a mandatory 24-hour waiting period for any non-essential purchase triggered by scarcity or urgency. During that waiting period, ask your logical processing unit, did I need this item before I saw the urgency message? Is this genuinely a good deal, or is it just a manufactured panic button? Often, by the next day, the urgency has dissolved, and with it, your desire to make an impulsive, unneeded purchase. Recognize that true value doesn't evaporate in an hour. True necessity isn't dictated by a countdown clock. You are reclaiming your decision-making faculty from external manipulation. This isn't about losing a deal. It's about gaining control over your own wallet and your own choices. Finally, consider this common scenario. You're deciding between 2 restaurants. One has a short line outside, maybe a few people waiting. The other is completely empty. Which one do you instinctively gravitate towards? The one with the line, right? Even if the empty one has better reviews, better prices, or better food, your internal compass pulls you towards the one where others are already gathered. You feel a strange sense of validation, a belief that if others are choosing it, it must be the right choice. This is the social proof exploit. Your human OS is designed to operate efficiently in a social context, and a key subroutine is, if many people are doing it, it's probably safe/good/correct. It's a heuristic, a shortcut for complex decision-making. In a world full of choices, observing the behavior of the majority is a low-energy way to navigate uncertainty. The exploiters know this. They don't need to convince you directly. They just need to convince enough other people, or appear to convince enough other people, that their product, service, or idea is popular. They leverage bestseller lists, most popular labels, X number of satisfied customers, and even fake reviews to activate this internal consensus mechanism. Your brain, seeing the crowd, automatically assumes validation, even if that crowd is fabricated or acting on equally flawed information. It's like your internal GPS defaulting to follow the cars ahead, even if they're all headed for a cliff. Now, let's calculate the behavioral debt incurred by this herd mentality. How many times have you chosen a mediocre product, watched a bad movie, eaten at an overpriced restaurant, or even adopted a flawed belief system simply because everyone else was doing it, or it was the most popular? If relying on social proof leads you to even one bad purchase a month that costs you $50 in dissatisfaction, that's $600 a year of wasted money and wasted experience. $6,000 a decade, tens of thousands over a lifetime. This isn't just about financial loss. It's about a constant erosion of your personal taste, your critical thinking, and your ability to forge your own path. You are outsourcing your judgment to an anonymous collective, allowing their choices to dictate yours. You become a follower, not by conscious choice, but by a subtle system hack that forces you onto pre-trodden paths, even when a superior, unexplored path might exist. You're effectively allowing a poll result to make your life decisions for you. The countermaneuver for the social proof exploit is to reactivate your independent judgment processor. When you see bestseller, most popular, or a long line, your immediate internal instruction should be, initiate independent evaluation protocols. Don't dismiss the crowd entirely, but don't blindly follow it either. Ask yourself, does this product, service, or idea align with my specific needs, my specific values, my specific criteria, irrespective of what others are doing? Seek out diverse opinions, not just the loudest or most numerous. Understand that popularity often correlates with mass appeal, not necessarily with quality or suitability for your unique requirements. Your internal system should be programmed to prioritize personal fit over collective endorsement. This means cultivating a healthy skepticism toward anything presented as universally desired. Your brain has the capacity for independent thought. It's time to stop letting it run on default settings dictated by the masses. Your OS is capable of independent navigation. These 4 exploits, anchoring, reciprocity, scarcity, and social proof, are not magic. They are sophisticated hacks against the very architecture of your human operating system. They bypass your conscious logic and target your pre-programmed defaults. The world isn't trying to make you feel better. It's trying to make you do what it wants. Your ignorance of these system vulnerabilities is their profit margin. Your inaction is their continued success. You either run your own system, or someone else will run it for you. There is no middle ground. Class dismissed.